The role of the creative facilitator is key within the process. One thing you know for certain, if a problem owner comes to you and says, "Crikey, I need some help with some facilitation, can you use a creativity technique with me in order to generate some fresh thinking?" You know for certain as the creative facilitator that whatever's going on inside the head of the problem owner, they're not able to solve the problem. They wouldn't be coming to you if they knew what the solution was. So whatever's happening inside their head, they're not able to solve the problem. As a creative facilitator, the role you're going to play, the service you're going to be delivering to the problem owner is to mess with the way they think about the problem. Fundamentally, that has to happen. Your role is to provoke, stimulate, excite, challenge, bully the thinking of the problem owner in order to transform the way that they think. Now, this isn't an easy process. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, for goodness sake. So it's quite tricky, but once you get your head around it, the learning curve is really quite steep. The creative facilitator will initially sit down one-on-one with the problem owner and use what I would refer to as a scoping technique. This is a cup of coffee technique. Duration of the technique might take 10 to 20 minutes, absolute tops 20 minutes. And it's just a structured way of looking at the problem statement. One thing I know for certain as a creative problem solver is if a problem owner comes to you, it is highly likely they're going to have a sloppy definition of the problem statement. Depending on how you define the problem dictates how you go about solving the problem. One of our innate blockages is that we tend to rush in and solve a problem before we understand it. The consequence is we have sloppily defined problems and rush in to try and solve them. What I'm going to do as a creative facilitator first, therefore, is sit down with the scoping technique one-on-one over that cup of coffee just to make sure that we're in the right ballpark, that at the end of that process we'll have a much better understanding of what the problem statement is. Once you have a problem as defined that you're comfortable with, you've gone through the scoping process. Next thing to do is put a team of people together to deliver the creative service, if you like, and you as the facilitator are going to conduct and orchestrate the brains of the collected individuals in order to deliver that service to the problem owner. The makeup of that team is critically important, and what I would urge as a creative facilitator is never ever have more than 6 people in the room, including your good self. Any more than that, it becomes remarkably difficult to keep everyone engaged because the techniques are unusual. You're taking a group of people through an unusual process. You want to make sure that everyone is engaged to the maximum extent throughout. The makeup is therefore, the critical makeup is therefore you as the facilitator, the problem owner, critically important obviously. You then want a couple of people who know something about the problem that can work closely with the problem owner and help them out. Let's call them experts. But critically important, and what differentiates creativity from virtually any other problem-solving approach, is that you need people who know relatively little about the problem. Naivety is like creative gold dust. So I would insist if you have 6 people in the room, at least 2 of those should be naive. Critically important. They are your creative gold dust. The role of the creative facilitator is then to manage the thinking process within the minds of each of the individuals participating. And for that we use the creative problem solving cycle. There is a structure of thinking. We use 2 creative problem solving techniques, one to focus on problem redefinition, the other one to focus on idea generation. And both of those processes will have inherent within them an element of what we call divergent thinking followed by convergent thinking. Divergent thinking, we suspend judgment. We access novel thinking, and from there we apply convergent thinking or bring judgment back in on the table. So basically we diverge, grab a bucket of novelty, take that novelty and then mix it with useful. And that diverge-converge process, initially we'll apply it within the problem redefinition process, we'll end up with a much better definition of the problem, and then we'll take it through idea generation again. Diverge, pick up a bucket of novelty, grab that novelty, converge, mix the novel with useful, bingo, you end up with an idea that's both novel and useful.